Good morning, everybody. It is morning, right? Is that what we're doing? I can't even tell what time it is anymore. Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our new permanent time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Thursdays. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Tessica, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
The embargo is lifted. Arms Race is now out for all the people to see. We're going to open the floor to all of your feedback on what you think of the new game mode. Will you be picking up Designer's Cut?
We definitely will, but don't take our word for it. As one LeVar Burton would say, we're going to hear from various community members about what they think of Arms Race later in the program. We also, you might recognize a few of them, 1 or 2 or 3, or all of them. That is all of them. Anyway, we're very, very excited to share Arms Race with you guys. We'll be talking about it today on the show. We'll be streaming it. I'll be streaming it later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on the official channel. I'm sure Mitsu will be streaming it as soon as he possibly can on all the channels, and all of our teammates are also streaming it, so make sure to check them out. Their links to all their channels are posted below the video screen that you're looking at right now if you just scroll and hit the little about button.
Yes. As always, we wanted to take a minute to thank all of our new listeners on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and those watching live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Steam, or later on the VOD on YouTube. And if you are enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big ol' like, follower, favorite, because video games. That's it. This is nothing too witty today. We're just going to keep it simple.
Video games are pretty OP. They're pretty fun.
Yeah. Every now and again, whenever I get to play one, it is a very enjoyable experience.
Good stuff.
November 9th. I did not know about this until earlier today, I believe.
Yeah.
They pushed up the date for the release of the Designer's Cut.
Just a smidge.
Just enough time for those on PS4 and Xbox One X and PC, for all of them to enjoy Designer's Cut. One extra day. I believe it's 5 a.m. Pacific time. So by the time most of you wake up, you'll be able to actually play Arms Race on November 9th.
Oh, wait. So I thought it was like a midnight launch. It's actually 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. Eastern. Is that right?
Yes, I want to make sure I have that correct.
Wow.
Because the time stuck out in my mind as something very unique when I read about it. I went, oh, that's an interesting time for them to launch that. Usually it's a noon Eastern launch or some such during the day.
Cool.
So yeah,
Okay.
you will have access to all of it. On the downside, though, Bloody Harvest is over. Wah, wah. That was today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was today. So that was actually like right now. So if you were farming, I'm sorry, you have to be done. But hopefully you got your builds going. There's a bunch of creators that put out builds on the team and off the team on their YouTubes and their Discords. So definitely make sure to check out the Borderlands directory on Twitch and on YouTube and grab everybody's builds if you didn't grab them for yourselves, because they're really fun to try out and play. So that's what I do, and it's a good time. Definitely. Hopefully you farmed and you got what you wanted, though, if you were farming.
Indicator ghast calls.
Yes. Oh my God.
Everybody wants.
Yeah. Well, Tweety and I were doing a One Life yesterday, like we normally do on the channel, and we both got gas calls like while we were doing the One Life, and it totally carried us all the way through. It was great. They were only
really
level
does
13.
change the nature of everything about how you play once you get one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's that. This one came as a bit of a surprise to me. I only found out about it a few days ago. Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, the 5th and final DLC for Borderlands 2, is now free for a limited time for those of you who own Borderlands 2 on Switch.
Very cool.
Just like they did when it first came out, and just like they did about a month ago for Epic Store. Remember that?
Yeah. That's right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Side note, they've been very, very awesome about making sure that all the platforms that have the base game do eventually get the DLC. Like, that's something that people on Epic were wondering about. That's something that people on Switch were wondering about. They're there. The DLCs are there for you. I wasn't sure. I've been planning on, and I'm still planning on it. I just haven't. I ran into a few technical difficulties. But I'm still planning on eventually playing Borderlands 2 VR on the main channel. And I was wondering if the DLCs were there, and they are. So that same DLC, Commander Lilith, I believe, is also available in VR. I think all 5 of them are, which is really cool. So once I finally get it working, we're going to play it. It's going to be fun.
Just as an aside for the people, what VR headset do you use?
I have the Vive Cosmos Elite, but my whole setup is kind of complicated because so it's cool that all the different things kind of work together. When I originally got a headset, it was like years ago, like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I got the original Vive, and at the time I didn't have a computer that could really push it. So and also my like space in my apartment was just not accommodating, so I didn't really use it that much. But I did have the original base stations, the original controllers, and the original headset. And then later, like a few years later, the Cosmos Elite came out, and then the Cosmos Elite headset was available for sale by itself without the base stations and controllers. And I was like, oh, perfect. I can spend less money. And it was on sale. I can spend less money and just buy the headset and use my old kind of like base setup and use it with that. And then I got the wireless adapter. And then I got the wireless adapter for the wireless adapter for the Cosmos. So I had to adapt my adapter.
You had to adapt your adapter.
Yeah, it's a thing. And then I got the Gear VR mod, which makes your kind of like sweet spot where you can see more comfortably and clearly a little bit better for my headset. And then I got the index controllers, so I don't have to hold them because I have a gimpy hand, and this makes it really easy for me to play things.
Really? So you can use the index controllers with the HTC Vive.
Yes, which is so awesome. Yeah, because they're all in the same kind of Steam VR, Open VR, Open XR, all the R's family. So yeah, it's really great. I'm really excited. So eventually when also Borderlands 2 VR does support the index controllers, although I'm still kind of working on getting them happy with it. But in theory, it's supposed to work. So I'm going to get it to work and then I'll stream it. It'll be fun.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I was looking at, the reason I asked is I was just wondering which one you use, because I'm always looking right down to see what Valve has put out in terms of VR headsets. If I want to jump right into playing Borderlands 2 VR, for example.
I would say, so like the way I went about, because it was like a 4-year kind of trajectory of buying various things on sale and just kind of like, oh, this is on sale, let me pick it up. And then once I had it, I was like, oh, and I need this. Oh, and I need that. So like, I wouldn't necessarily do what I did. If you're buying right now and you don't care about wireless, which I super recommend getting some kind of ceiling mount if you're going to not care about wireless, because you really kind of want something to lift that wire away from you so you can like turn around. The index is definitely sort of the best that's there right now. There may be new things coming in the next like 6 months. I don't know.
Refresh rate's on, it's 120, right?
Yeah, which is really
that's
nice.
super smooth.
And the field of view is better, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Like I'm super happy with my setup, especially with the Gear VR mod. It changes the lenses to be much nicer, and it's definitely a really, really good experience. But like if I was buying from nothing, I don't know if I would go the route that I did. Having wireless is kind of a game changer. There is, of course, the Quest 2 out there now, and you can use the link cable, and this is totally unrelated to Borderlands, but we're just gonna cover it real quick.
Well, I mean, it does pertain to Borderlands, because if you can play Borderlands on VR, and that's an experience that I personally would want and you would want, it's important for people to know where they can get the best experiences on a virtual headset or Borderlands. So if you're recommending your setup or you're recommending the index as somebody with firsthand experience and technical knowledge of it, this is important. This is really important.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough experience in VR stuff to really put a recommendation. I can just kind of tell you my own experiences and what I've gathered from doing my own research. And so like the Quest 2 is a really good device if you're comfortable with Facebook. I'm just going to leave it at that. Basically owning your soul. So if you're comfortable with that, it's all good. It is really simple, and you can play without having it connected to your computer. It does come with a link cable, which has its own issues. It's like not 100% smooth of an experience with a link cable. So you can also do virtual desktop, which I have not tried to set up and is supposed to be kind of complicated, but works really well. But then you get into the complicated realm of things, and so you might be better off just, getting an index, or index might come out with something new in the near future. So it's just kind of like, It depends on your budget, really. I think that's really the issue. Like if I don't know if I would have bought a headset right now if I hadn't already had some of the things. I probably would have either waited or I don't know. I would have had a big decision to make because
Sure.
the index is like 3 times the price or something, and
Mhm.
also a 2-month waiting period. But it is really nice, and it is a more open platform, which is nice also.
And what sort of hardware do you use specifically? Because I imagine it probably looks and plays better on AMD since that's the official Borderlands partner.
Yeah, well, so like I Borderlands 2 I don't think was coded for
Oh,
AMD
I had
originally.
yeah, that's very true.
However,
However,
my game PC does run currently on an AMD 3800X Zen processor, and it definitely handles it much better. VR tends to be a little bit more CPU intensive, especially if you're streaming VR in
Mhm.
any way, shape, or form. Like if you're using any kind of smoothing software. I'm not streaming and gaming on the same computer, but my streaming computer also has an AMD 3800X processor because they're awesome and super powerful, and also the Radeon 7 GPU, and it just like it handles it really well. I have not had any kind of graphics issues or slowdowns or anything like that. I think the only issues I ever had was when I installed a few extra mods into a game that wasn't even Borderlands, and that game, it was just too many mods at the same time, kind of slowing it down. So that was not even related to the processor or anything. So yeah, it's good. AMD definitely the way I would go to save money and also get really incredible performance right now.
yes, I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. So I mean, like I said, that is very important information for people to know about if they're considering making that kind of purchase. And with the holidays right around the corner, I don't know. I would certainly love to see an index sitting under my Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If you are in the market for a processor or a GPU, I would just wait a tiny little bit.
Hmm.
Actually, right now with processors, they've launched. AMD has launched their new series of processors, the 5000 series. They are insane. They are blazing fast. Like when I tell you that my 3800X blows everything out of the water game wise and stream wise, like I'm running Zoom and OBS and like 50 other I accidentally left Photoshop open and Premiere
Hmm.
and Spotify and Streamlabs and Ada 64 and like 400 or 500 tabs of Chrome plus Microsoft Edge because I have to use both, plus 100 other things, and not a problem. Everything's fine. So AMD is amazing. It really, really is. So the new processors, I can't even imagine how much better it'll be. I'm super excited because I'm hoping to get one. We'll see, maybe, I don't know, but hopefully. And then the new AMD GPU, which I've only really heard a little bit of rumors here and there and a little bit of information here and there. I don't have any details for you, but it's rumored to be at least on par with the 3000 series of NVIDIA, if not better. And it's definitely going to be a little bit cheaper.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna put that test seal of approval on that because holy butts, that's gonna be amazing if it actually competes with the 3000 series NVIDIA cards. Thank you, AMD. This is what we've been waiting for. So it's gonna be cool. It's exciting.
And but see, that's the nice thing about it is for us, we both use Radeon processors. It's for Borderlands 3, for example. That's why they have, what is it, Reality FX scaling is only
That
available
and
to us.
also the
Yeah.
fidelity, like something sharping. I
Yeah, the
forget what it's
fidelity.
called.
That's
I'm
what, yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Hmm.
Borderlands 3 was coded on it, like it was developed on machines using AMD GPUs and CPUs. So it does run more smoothly on those. I crashed
Yeah.
way less on that machine than I did my old machine. It had NVIDIA, and it's just nice. It's just really nice. It handles really well. It handles all other games that I throw at it. It's a good experience. So, and that's with the current generation, not the new generation that's coming out right now. So I'm really excited for what the new generation has to offer. So it'll be
And what
cool.
other toys they'll manage to throw in there that will take advantage of that'll be like, ooh, that makes everything look real nice.
Yeah.
As always, crossplay, vertical split screen, 4-player co-op next week. I'm very excited. as well as having all of those wonderful features and multiplayer options, a massive staple of the Borderlands franchise coming to PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S. And of course, Mayhem 11 will launch next week. I can't wait to see what everybody thinks of it, because I know how much people have been clamoring for this, and I finally want to see what happens when it gets out in the wild. If it goes far enough, or if people are still going to be like, meh. Yeah, imagine a few people might still be mad, but when people found out that Mayhem 11 was happening, I remember watching Twitter, and when we got to talk about it here and on the Borderlands show, everybody was like, whoa, you mean I don't have to deal with the modifiers anymore? Yeah. I don't even care if I'm getting XP loot half. I just want to play the game.
I think people will be really happy, honestly. I think it's exactly what a lot of the community has been asking for. People have been saying they want less world drops of loot, and that's exactly what it gives you. They're saying there are too many legendary drops out in the world. It doesn't affect, so like the half loot that you are losing, sort of the half loot drops that you're losing on Mayhem 11, doesn't affect dedicated loot. So basically exactly what people asked for, less world drops, so that they have sort of things like they're not like inundated with legendaries and no modifiers. Literally what the community said, please give, and the devs said, here you go. And it's really incredible. Like, they have been the most incredibly sort of attentive and responsive and transparent and open and awesome devs that I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and I think we're very lucky. So
I think that Mayhem 11 will attract a much larger and varied audience. Because for me, I've grown up in the style of playing certain games that are in the same vein as Borderlands, where you, of course, kill things and loot them, where one of the facets of higher levels of play is a boss may spawn little purple sticks that spin around, much like we have our, spinners in Borderlands 3. And for some people, that is a turnoff, especially when it comes to first-person shooters, because they're not used to those kinds of mechanics being in a first-person shooter environment. Yeah. So it's more difficult to have somebody maybe come over from like a Call of Duty game to come play Borderlands, and they're going, wait, why are these things spawning on the ground and I'm taking all this damage? Or why are these lava pools opening up under my feet? So not everybody understands that concept. And then, of course, you and I and lots of Borderlands and looter shooter old staples, those are the kinds of people who are going to be like, I really like this. And so now you can attract those people in at the highest levels of play and say, come play. And then maybe you kind of like wean them in a little bit and be like, all right, now try this Mayhem modifier, try that Mayhem modifier. And maybe they wind up liking it and maybe they don't, but now you have different options for everybody to enjoy. And that's really what we've been asking for the whole time. That's what matters.
Yeah. I'm just excited. I'm so excited for everybody to get their hands on Mayhem 11, because that is coming to everyone, whether you purchase the Season 2 pass or not. Now, just to reiterate, the Season 2 pass is $29.99. You get both the designer's cut that's coming out on November 9th, so in just a few days, and the director's cut, which will be released at a later date. We don't have the date. We don't know what's in it. We don't know any of that stuff yet. But we're very excited for when we get that information and can share it with you, because this current content drop, this current DLC is so cool. And like, my feeling has always been that their like initial drops are even improved upon in the next drops, right? So like all the DLC that came out in year one season pass, all of it was amazing. Like, I loved the first DLC, loved it. Loved the second one even more. Loved the third one even more than that. And the fourth one is literally my favorite DLC in all of Borderlands and all of video games, because Maya. And also, I just think they did a really good job with the story and the feeling of it and the design of it and everything. And so, like, I'm really, really excited to eventually learn what Director's Cut is going to be all about. Now, they have said that I believe $14.99 is going to be the cost for first DLC if you don't buy the season pass, if you just buy the first DLC separately, and I believe also the second DLC if you choose to buy that separately.
Yeah.
The other thing that's coming to everyone is the new skins, the new like base skins. These aren't just kind of like color skins or anything like that. They're like complete redesigns of the characters. So these are kind of like alternate universe skins. Those are not coming to absolutely everyone like Mayhem 11. Mayhem 11 is everyone across the board, whether you just bought the base game and didn't buy any Super Deluxe Edition or Season Pass or anything like that. Everybody gets Mayhem 11, which is super cool. Now, the alternate universe skins are coming to people that bought either the Super Deluxe or Season Pass 1. So if you had Season Pass 1 or you had the Super Deluxe edition of the game, which included Season Pass 1, then you get those. If you buy Season Pass 2, I'm assuming you also get those. I'm actually not 100% sure on that. I should double check.
What was it? If you have the first season, then you get it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you have
it as of right now, you will get those skins all for free.
Yeah. I believe
I shouldn't even say skins. They are complete redesigns.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to get out of that mindset because it's not just a reskin, it's a whole new model for each of these characters.
Yep. And there'll be skins for those models, I'm assuming, in the future.
Yes.
Like, you'll be able to color them. You'll also be able to, like, split them in half. So, like, let's say you want to use the new Amara model, right? The Tiger of Partali. You can change the head if you don't like the head, for example, which I think it actually looks pretty badass. But some people are like, well, I want to use the body piece, but I want to use, like, my Kitsune head that I really liked that I got from DLC 3. You can do that. And it's great. And it's awesome.
You'd like to.
So, yeah.
So you're right. You actually, about those skins, every single skin, the color variants and everything like that are currently in the game, you will have access to those as well for those new models from day one. So if you really like the American flag one, for example, that's the example that comes to mind right now. If you like that one, then you can take the new model and make it an American flag variant, which is probably going to look ridiculous on Soviet Moes, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But you have that option.
Yeah. So, which is really cool. We don't know what will be in Director's Cut yet, so we can't tell you because we don't know. But once we do know and can tell you, we'll definitely be super, super, super happy to share it with you guys as soon as we possibly can. Right now, we're just talking about Designer's Cut, which comes out in just a few days on November 9th, which is so cool. You can see what is in the Designer's Cut today, right now. As soon as we are done streaming, you guys will be able to check out streamers on the team. We'll definitely host one of them. I'll be streaming on the main channel later today at 7 p.m. Eastern, playing Arms Race, using the new skill trees and the builds that use them, that don't use the new items. So we're not going to be using the new items that drop in Arms Race because we don't want you to get spoiled by that. We'll be able to show you what the weapons are if you're curious, if they drop in Arms Race for us, but we're not going to show you what they look like in the game because we kind of want you guys to discover that for yourselves. Trust me, they're very strong. That's actually one of the main reasons that you can't use them within Arms Race. This is something that's been asked about. You can't use the new weapons and items of gear that drop in Arms Race when you find them in Arms Race because they would be way too strong and just let you completely decimate everything that you encounter in Arms Race. That's why they're only allowed to be extracted later, right? So those items, when we find them playing Arms Race, we'll definitely show them to you guys, but we're not going to use them in game because we want you to experience that for yourselves, and it's only a few days away, right? It's going to be cool.
Only 4. Today is the 5th, right?
Yeah. How is it
Oh.
already November 5th?
Right now. Those listening in the future times, that number might be changed a bit.
Yeah.
That's okay. But yes, I'm glad you brought that up because the embargo is gone. Embargone, if you will. And it's really, I have been waiting for everybody to get their hands on Arms Race in the team as a whole to really get a sense for what they're feeling about this new mode. And we'll start with you, Tess. What do you think of Arms Race as it is right now?
I love it. I feel like as kind of a challenge run type of person, which I blame Priest, honestly. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the Twitch chat, the Priesticles. He kind of was like, I do a lot of one life runs. One life? What? English.
One life that is one rife with life.
Yeah. Yes.
I got there.
Definitely. Yeah. Tweety would be proud of the puns in that sense. Actually, every Wednesday, myself and Tweety and DePriesticles do co-op One Life on the main channel, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, he's the one that got us into it because it's something that like I didn't realize that I would like so much, but I like kind of the slightly slower pace of gameplay. I like the challenge of having to not die, and if you die, you have to delete the character and start over from the beginning. You can do DLCs this way. You can do all sorts of different content that way. I think it super prepares you if you've ever done a one life for Arms Race because Arms Race or something like an Allegiance run or like Mystique Siren, which you'll see in a moment, she'll bring this up, but she does something called a garbage run, which is basically only using items she finds in the trash in Borderlands. She can't use anything out of a chest, like a red chest. She can't use anything that's given to her by a quest reward. She can only use trash piles and little trash cans and toilets. Toilets are allowed, I believe. She can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure toilets are allowed because trash, kind of the same thing. And so it makes it very difficult to get through the game that way, but it's also a really cool challenge because you're kind of forced to use guns that you maybe normally wouldn't. You don't get that, like, I'm super OP, I can kill everything. So you have to kind of play it a little bit more slowly, a little bit more strategically, a little bit more carefully. Makes for an interesting challenge, definitely, and I think interesting experience for viewers. And Arms Race is definitely that, especially if you play it solo. If you play it solo, which I'm definitely going to do a bunch of, it's going to be really tough. I've finished it solo a few times already. It's definitely doable, but it's hard, and it's good that it's hard. It's a really, really cool, different experience every single time. You're super dependent on the loot that you find. When you first drop into Arms Race, immediately you will find a white chest. That's going to happen every time you drop in. That's just kind of the way it goes. You drop in, you find a white chest that's going to have a couple of guns and a couple of shields. And so you have 2 options for guns, 2 options for shields, and you can pick and choose, and then you can kind of go from there. You can decide if you want to go straight for the boss. The boss might drop some cool new loot that you can use later in game, and maybe you'll be able to fight the boss with those guns if you got really lucky in that white chest. But more likely, those white guns are not really going to get you that far. So you might want to go to one of the 3 different loot rooms that exist. And those loot rooms have basically you'll get to one and the doors around it will close. You'll be locked in until you clear the room. And then you'll have red chests in the room that drop you the special loot. Sometimes it'll be things you can use in the mode. Other times it'll be things you can use outside the mode that you have to extract, or both if you're lucky. And it's really, really, really worth doing, both for the current experience of Arms Race and for later game, because these guns are really strong. Just trust us when we say they're really, really, really strong. And you're going to love them. So that's going to be cool. And then also, and this is something that's echoed by a lot of our teammates, I think, playing with viewers, playing with your friends. Both things are going to be a lot of fun in Arms Race. You can absolutely do it with your friends, and it levels the playing field, right? Everybody is the same power level. It doesn't matter what level you are. It doesn't matter what your build is. You're never going to have to worry about other people kind of like, completely wrecking everything before you even get a chance to shoot your gun, because that happens to a lot of streamers and just people in general, I think, when their friends are more OP than they are. And it's kind of nice to kind of be able to have everybody at an even kill and play together and have to work together and have kind of like a good time contributing to the group together. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah. Arms Race is very exciting to me because that flat level playing field means that, and this is really what I'm looking forward to. I want to get Series X, and I've talked about this several times, but I'm going to really hammer this point home here. As Series X, friends come over. It's going to be a little difficult for them at first because they're not used to a Borderlands style of game. More often than not, when we're hanging out, we're playing more party style games. They all have first-person shooter experience from years and years and years, but they're not as avid Borderlands players, at least not recently. So in order to get them back up to speed, I find that Arms Race is a great way to just make it about the guns so that they have a chance to pick up a gun and experience what the gunplay of the game is first. And maybe not necessarily first, because we'll start a whole new campaign, so they'll get a chance to play around with their action skills for a little bit. We'll talk about how they can build their trees, all of that stuff. And then we go to Arms Race, and it'll be like many other games where there's no trees, there's no action skills. It's just guns, cover, kill, survive. The only added benefit here now is loot. Loot that they can then take back to the real game via the extractor. And I think that's the really exciting point, because they're going to want to do this over and over again, because they'll have a concept pretty early on of what their character is like, but they won't probably have any legendaries. And if they do, maybe it'll be like, an Unforgiven just randomly drops, or where did this no, I wanted to say Skullmasher, but that's 2. That's not on the world drop loot table in 3. What's the good one? Krakatoa pops out. Yay, Krakatoa! Yay! So one of them's got a Krakatoa now, and you're like, wow, this gun's really strong. And then we do Arms Race, and then maybe a plasma coil pops out, and they're like, what's this? You guys don't know about that plasma coil yet. You don't want to know about that plasma coil. It's real good.
It's so good.
It's very, very good.
God.
It's so good. So I think Arms Race is a great way to attract a whole new generation of players to the game. And I want to emphasize that it is a bridge building moment. You can take this core concept of Arms Race and run with it. You can make it so that if they wanted to, once you beat a level of Arms Race, maybe it unlocks, you get to play again, but now everybody's a little bit harder, but the rewards are greater. Are you going to go for it, or are you going to extract and run away? The choices are yours and yours alone. And no, you don't have any temple pendants. Sorry, buds. So what? I love that show. So yeah, I like the flexibility. I like what it opens up. More maps. That'll be very exciting to see. More variety in enemies. I would like to see the Revenants, which made a very brief cameo appearance on our previous episode. I'd like to see them show up a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm both scared and excited to face those later today.
Yes.
They were really tough. Every single time I encountered them, they were really tough. I've yet to be able to actually kill one. I think maybe I killed one once. But I never, like, I don't remember, because it was I was just in such a rush to get out of the storm, because they're there during the storm, and I was at pretty low health already from between the storm and the Revenants, and I was trying to get back to the center, to the boss, so I could extract some cool loot that I had found. And so I didn't even pay attention to what they dropped. I suspect, and I don't know this for sure, so maybe some of my teammates, Psychotic Wolf is hanging out in chat, and I see Mystique Siren as well. Maybe, hopefully, eventually teammate. I don't know. Maybe people know whether or not those Revenants drop at, like, extra special loot. I don't know. I feel like they must, because they have so much health, and they're definitely really, 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 really tough. You encounter them at the edges of the storm more often than not. Yeah, they're not easy. I basically ran away. I killed one, I think, one time, and ran away from the rest.
I just got word from our producer. They just right in my ear. I have special dispensation to make an announcement here on the show, so I'm very excited. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust myself in my chair real quick. Everybody, gird your loins. I promise this is actually an announcement. Everybody knows the Echo Cast. Everybody knows all about it. It's a wonderful service that everybody gets to enjoy. You get to make your favorite streamers have to deal with supercharged badass enemies. You have your red chests. You have your moxtails. Now everybody's asking, Mitsu, where are you going with this? Well, at launch of Arms Race, there will be an addition to the Twitch extension where you will be able to receive, in the same vein as a red chest, extracted loot from your favorite streamers. So if your favorite streamer opts to extract, for example, a Cutsman, and you want it, it's just like a red chest event. You will have an option to opt in and perhaps win that loot.
Nice. Oh my God. Yeah, we've been excited about this since we heard about it, and we weren't 100% sure, that it was going to be a thing at launch or how it was going to work, but now we can share it with you, and that's so cool. It's really, 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 really exciting. Like, that's going to be insane. I plan to run a bazillion arms races because they're basically like one lives, but in this mode that gets you extra loot and extra stuff for viewers, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited, and this definitely like just makes it even more of a good interactive experience, I think, for everyone involved, which will be really cool.
So spread the word far and wide that there will be a new feature coming to the extension, and it's a very, very exciting one. Because now, if you're watching somebody and they're streaming and maybe they get a gun that you're really interested in and they weren't otherwise thinking about extracting it, don't bully the streamer, but maybe push them a little bit harder in the direction and be like, hey, can you run to the extractor real quick? I want to have a chance to win that. That looks really good.
Because that
makes you feel good.
Sorry, it's important to note that you can extract before you fight the boss. So like before you die, before you fight the boss and take that risk, you can extract at every single extractor. You can extract up to 3 things, right? When you beat the final boss, you get to an extractor that lets you extract 5 things, which is really nice. But there are multiple locations and I believe the locations change every time, where you can extract up to 3 things while you're doing your playthrough. So like if somebody goes to a loot room, for example, and successful completes the loot room, God, I can't talk today.
Complex loot room?
Yeah. Oh God, that'd be cool. There are red chests in the room once you complete it, and you can open those up, and those will not work as regular red chests, but you can extract that for your viewers if you're a streamer, and you guys as viewers can be like, please streamer, and we'll do it. We'll totally do it as much as we can, because otherwise, like, that's the whole point for us of streaming, is to like do things for you guys and enjoy the experience together, right? So that's a really, really cool interactive feature that they're putting in.
I'm very, very happy that this is going in. Can I confirm, Psychotic Wolf asking if every act of extraction will trigger said event? The way I understand it is whatever you are extracting will trigger the event.
Yeah.
You can, of course, double check if you'd like to send a tweet maybe to Noel, our wonderful community manager over on the Gearbox side, just for confirmation. That would be wonderful. But the way it was explained to me, it will, whatever you extract will be done that way. I don't know if there's a cooldown. I was not led to believe that there will be one.
I can't imagine there's a cooldown. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'd be very surprised if there was a cooldown, because you can't just... Like, you, first of all, I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the locations of the extractors change, and there's only a few of them on the map, right? So, like, if you run around the map in the beginning, and you find an extraction point, and then you don't have anything yet to extract, and then let's say you go to a loot room and you find some cool stuff, and you have like 6 items you want to extract, and you run back to that extraction and you extract. You need to find another one. Even if you know where the other one is, you have to run to it. It's not going to be like right across kind of the proverbial street, right? You're going to have to go find it, possibly encounter some enemies on the way, very likely encounter some enemies on the way. Possibly it'll be in the storm by that point. So I think the really sort of good balance that they have in the mode itself takes this into account. So you won't really be able to just like extract. You can't just mow your way through this mode. That no matter what drops for you, even if you get the most incredible incendiary TDR ever in the existence of incendiary TDRs, which are very powerful, you won't be able to just mow your way through this mode. That's one of the reasons that action skills are not not available, and skill points are not available. This is a question that's come up a lot, I think, on Reddit, and Noelle has told us in various places. Huge thank you to her for letting us know that. We do pay attention to, but she's kind of got the greatest ear to the ground. No skill points and no action skills, because it would just be you would be too powerful with an action skill. You would use and rely on the action skill as opposed to the guns, right? The guns and the randomness of the guns, and the fact that there are a billion guns in this game. That's something they really wanted to focus on. They really wanted to give us the opportunity to focus on. So not having an action skill means that you can't just rely on that action skill, and every single playthrough is going to be different because it depends on the guns. 1 or 50 of a billion guns is still different every single time. You know, you're probably not going to get 50 guns, but maybe, I don't know. But it depends on how long you're in the mode, right? And the other thing is, so adding skill points over time would definitely break up the flow of the gameplay experience of this mode. And so personally, having played Battleborn, which I loved, it was a wonderful game. That was the part that I personally hated, was having to stop in the middle of combat, go up your skill tree, and be distracted and potentially die while you're doing that. And it just like interrupted the running and gunning, you know, which is like my favorite part. And I think a lot of people kind of feel that way. And I wish that you could have done it in some sort of like if you had a route to take that you were used to taking up a tree in Battleborn, if you could have just selected that route ahead of time, and then every time you got a point, it could have just automatically happened because you pre-selected it. Like that would be cool, maybe. And that was something I kind of hoped they would do for Battleborn, but obviously it never got the chance. So I like the way that this doesn't require you to level up all the time, because it does break up gameplay, you know. So I think it's a good system. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, I was going to say, you bring up a good point about Battleborn versus Borderlands and the way that skill trees and point distribution is. It is very difficult as a UI designer to find a way to create a seamless skill tree UI integration while you are also doing other actions. And what I mean by that is, let's say, I will use Battleborn in this example. I played a lot of Kelvin. Kelvin is somebody who goes in, who would chomp enemies, who would punch people around, who used lightning fast attacks every now and again to zip around the battlefield. So much fun. Loved playing Kelvin. But the point of Kelvin was that Kelvin is a tank. Where's the tank going to be while the action is going on? You're not sitting back in base like Marquis, firing on the enemy base. You're on the front line. When you're on the front line, you've got a skill point. What do you have to do? Your options are try and like get it done real quick in the heat of the battle, or you have to take yourself off of the battlefield for 10, 15, 30 seconds that you can decide where you want to put your point or points, depending on how long you're out there. Yeah. That's time that could be spent in the action. And in the way that game was designed, the action was constant. Minions were constantly flowing out into the battlefield, and you had to deal with it. Otherwise, they would overrun and start attacking your base. The way the game worked. Yeah. So if you extrapolate that and we talk about Arms Race is fast and furious. There are very few moments in Arms Race where you have downtime, because you have enemies constantly coming at you, especially if the Revenants get a scent of you. Then they're just endless. Essentially, not endless, but like once they know where you are, you can't outrun them. They will eventually catch up to you, and you will have to do something about it. Yeah, they will follow you, and that they do not drop aggro like the old days of EverQuest. You have no recourse. You gotta deal with it, or you just gotta keep running until you get to the boss. I think they do drop aggro if you get to the boss, and that's it.
Yeah. They won't follow you to the boss, but literally you have to jump down and start fighting the boss in order for them to leave you alone. Like you can't be at the vending machines right before the boss. They'll come and kill you there. So
yeah. So you basically got to run up, hit your button to restock real quick, and jump right down. You can't even spend time looking to see if there's maybe a shield or a grenade or something in the vending machines you might want to buy. Make your life a little bit easier when you're going down.
Expect to have to clear those enemies or run for your life the entire time. It's really cool. Like honestly, I feel like they've put in some of the best parts of Battleborn that I personally loved so much, and a whole bunch more. And like with the beautiful Borderlands twist, and it's a really cool map. The whole entire place is beautiful. Like it's all that like kind of snowy Pandoran awesome zone, and I just love it.
So the point of that was to illustrate why skill trees, for example, might not be the best idea to bring in this. There's a big break in the action. You've got to think a little bit harder about what's going on, and because there's constant pressure between enemies and the murder cane, you don't have time. There's no time to explain why you don't have time to explain. So you just got to get out there and play it and do the thing. That's really, to circle around, that's why they decided to make this design decision. And I agree with it. I like it. And maybe it'll be reversed in the future. I don't think for necessarily arms race, but if they take this idea and try to expand on it in other ways, maybe that's one way they do it. But for now, the way it is right now, and I do like the way that it is right now, there's really no need or impetus to change. That's fine.
Yeah. But don't take our word for it. Would you guys like to hear from some of our teammates, maybe soon to be teammates, cool people in the community? I would. Yeah. Let's do it.
Hey guys, Arms Race is around the corner. I think that's probably the most exciting thing that I'm waiting for when it comes to this brand new DLC. Not only because it's a new game mode, but because I can experience this game mode with every one of you in the Wolfpack and of course all of our friends. This promotes communication, teamwork, and of course, killing people and then getting loot for it. What else do you want? So guys, I'm looking forward to hanging out with every one of you when it comes to Arm Race on November 10th. So guys, let's get killing.
So Arms Race is almost here. I am so very excited. Strictly gun skill, starting with absolutely nothing. I recently did a garbage only run and I feel like that's prepared me for this. You gotta be strategic with your revives. Big takeaway. Gotta be strategic with whether or not you want to venture off and go get stuck in a murder cane. Or, possibly get good loot. But stay safe, go for the boss, maybe get good loot. I'm an adventurer personally, so I'm gonna go off and explore, probably get stuck in a murder cane. But I ain't scared. Come at me, bro. Lastly, this is gonna be an amazing thing for the community. I cannot wait to play with viewers. When you're playing with viewers before, maybe someone was doing all the damage with their action skill, perks, or whatever. And that doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the guns. It's all about the gun skill and the gun damage. And that's what I'm probably most excited for in the new mode.
Hey guys, Triple G here, and my hot take on Arms Race is that it is a ton of fun. I love the unique gameplay style that is in this mode. I think it is both challenging and rewarding at the same time, and it can suit both the solo and the co-op player. I'm excited to see how you guys actually play it and whether there are some unique strategies that we might not have come up with yet. And I'm also excited to see whether this mode returns in the future with better or bigger variations going forward.
Thanks to all our friends. Yeah, that was really, really cool to hear from everybody, actually, or at least some of our teammates that have had access or have seen others play. Mystique Siren, I don't think has actually gotten to play yet, but she's definitely seen others play. I'm excited for you to actually get your hands on it and play with your viewers. I'm excited to play with the viewers. It's going to be so much fun. BZK as well, hanging out in the chat. Hello and welcome, and Snacky Turtle, all these cool creators chilling. I'm glad you guys are excited. We're excited too.
Yes, indeed. I'm so excited for Arms Race, and I was genuinely a little concerned when we first revealed it last week that people weren't going to get the concept of it, or they weren't going to have an appreciation for it. One of the nice things I've seen is that the overwhelming majority of everybody's opinion, I would say 90% of people have had positive comments. They're excited for this game mode, even though they haven't played it yet. Take Mystique Siren, for example. Hasn't played it yet, but has watched it and said, this looks like a really cool thing that I want to try. And that is a big deal. So it speaks volumes as to the mode. And that's why I am very interested in taking a look at what the chats are saying right now, for I have both the YouTube and the Twitch chat open right now. And that's not to say that I wouldn't have all the other ones open, but I only have so much real estate today. And I'm just wondering what your opinions on everything are. Yes, Max, the rumors are true. Arms Race will be, it's not a rumor, it is confirmed, is a fact. Arms Race will be coming out at, I believe, 5 a.m. Pacific time, November 9th. So 4 days away. Just 4.
Nice.
Are there objectives, or is it just DPSing? So the objective, ultimately, there's one major objective, which is kill the boss, right? but you can set your own objectives in a way, because there are points of interest all around the map. There is the airdrop that can randomly happen every now and again. There are at least 3 specialized loot rooms where you'll have to compete against a gauntlet of enemies. And once you kill all of them, they will reward you with, I think, somewhere between, I think, 2 red chests on average for each of those rooms. I'm trying to remember based on our play. I believe there was at least 2 red chests.
I think so. The room where you drop down the hole, I think only has 1, and then one of the other rooms has 2, and I think one of the other rooms might have 2 or 3. I'm not sure on that 3rd room, actually. I don't remember.
Right.
Good question.
So yeah, and there are 3 of those. So you have the options to run around the map and take a look at all of those different areas. The map is gigantic. It is not feasible because you'll only have base move speed. So sorry, Zane and Amara players, you can't just zoom around. It is not feasible for you to cover the entire map in one game. So if you want to see everything and do everything, it's a mode you'll have to play repeatedly in order to cover, or uncover, I should say, all areas of the map. And I think this is great for replayability.
Yeah.
Is the boss random every time? No.
The boss is the same. Yeah.
Yes. And that's something that we did bring up. It's a very valid point that the boss should be a rotating cast of characters.
Yeah.
And again, this is the proof of concept. Here it is. This is a new mode. We want to see what the community thinks. We'll continue to make adjustments on it. And that is one big piece of feedback that I personally believe very strongly in. I would like to see, part of the replayability of Borderlands is you have to adapt to situations. So if you know what the last boss is going in, you will, then you know, all right, I should be looking for this kind of gun. I should be looking for that kind of gun. I have this, I have that. All right, I'm ready to go fight the last boss. But if there are multiple bosses and you don't know which one you're going to get, now you have to look around the map and say, all right, this gun can be good for this boss and this boss, but it's going to be really bad against this boss. And so you have to make this choice. Are you going to keep that gun now? Or are you going to say, all right, well, maybe I'll just hold out and see if I can get one that whatever boss it is. And so you have to make those really tough choices. And I like that a lot as something to look forward to down the line.
Yeah, I super agree. Like I love the whole experience of Arms Race, but like a lot of it changes, right? There's so much random stuff that happens. Like one thing that always happens is you find that white chest, but what's in that white chest when you drop in is always different. So from the very beginning, your replayability, like it's different every time. There's a billion guns. It could be anything in there, right? So what you get from that, also where the revive stations are, where the extract stations are, which way the storm converges down onto the center area, all that stuff is completely random. The enemies that show up are completely random. The loot is completely random all over the game, all over the map of Arms Race. It's really cool. So those things are random. I also super feel like the boss should be maybe not random, but varied. And it would be really cool if maybe we had multiple bosses in different locations on the map. Like instead of it narrowing down to that one arena, maybe it narrows down to like somewhere on an edge closer to one of the other loot rooms. So you have more time to kind of go and do that, or just because there's a cool boss in that area. It would definitely be an interesting way to introduce new or returning bosses. I don't know. We'll see. These are definitely things, like Mitsu said, this is a proof of concept. It's a really fun mode, just as exactly as it is. And I plan to play the heck out of it. And I'm sure Mitsu does, and all of our teammates do, and all of the directory does as well. And hopefully a lot of you guys playing with us, right? But we hope that they continue to iterate on this in the future and continue to do more things. So we can definitely speculate about what we want to see, right? Crossplay is 100% happening. We don't know exactly when. They're not going to give us a time until they're absolutely sure that it's done and it's going to be dropping at a certain time. I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but I feel like this is one of those things where just the fact that they're saying it is 100% happening is already a huge commitment and a huge, like, don't stress, it's coming statement. But it's COVID times. The world is crazy. I won't get into it beyond that, but the world is a crazy place right now. Anything is possible and everything is happening, and them giving us a time and, like, heaven forbid they can't reach it, like, that's just it's too much stress to put on the devs, honestly. So I just feel like it's super, super fair for them not to give us a time, not to put that pressure on themselves, and not to potentially not be able to deliver, right? They're going to deliver it for sure. They're going to make it happen. They have said that. So just give them the time to do it, right?
Yukima in the YouTube chat was asking right now, can you level up from 1 to 65 in this mode? And the answer is yes. You won't be able to level up from 1 because you won't be able to have access to it, because I don't believe you get access to it until you get to Sanctuary for the first time. So you'd be, I don't know, at minimum probably about level 10. But that still stands as a point where when you are in Arms Race, you will gain experience, so that when you get out of Arms Race, you will be able to put points into your tree. You will be able to put points into your Guardian rank as you level that up as well. So yes, you will be able to gain experience from being in here. And if you really, really wanted to, you could just level up in here. Why specifically you would want to do it, I don't imagine it is necessarily efficient, but it is what it is.
It could be efficient. It depends. So one of the things I actually didn't realize when I first started playing it, for instance, is that Mayhem levels, Mayhem modes do matter in Arms Race. It's not stated when you're playing it, like what Mayhem mode you're in, really, and you can't change it once you get in. But if you change, let's say you're usually playing at Mayhem 6 or something, and you think that with an even playing field, maybe you'll get lucky. You'll get something really good out of that first white chest that you're guaranteed to get as soon as you drop in. Maybe you just feel like, rolling the dice. So you bump it up to Mayhem 11 or Mayhem 10, which is the same. You do that, and then you jump into the mode. The enemies are going to be tankier. They're going to be harder for you to kill, and you're going to be getting Mayhem 10 and 11 loot. Right, or Mayhem 10. So Mayhem 11 drops Mayhem 10 loot. There's no actual difference. The only difference is no modifiers. But whether you choose Mayhem 10 or Mayhem 11, there's no difference because there are no modifiers in this mode anyway. So 10 and 11 are effectively the same. So let's say you choose Mayhem 10 or Mayhem 11 before, or you just live in Mayhem 11 from now on. You jump into Arms Race, those enemies are going to be Mayhem 11 enemies. Okay. It is very well balanced. It's not going to be like, oh, you get a white gun and you literally can't do damage. It depends on the gun that you get, but it's very well balanced across the board. So, like, you'll be able to progress. If you don't get lucky and you don't get a whole bunch of good guns in the beginning, one recommendation I would make is to pick up everything you can and then run to a vending machine. Sometimes you'll find a vending machine in one of the airdrops. There's airdrops also, and those are completely random, which is really, really cool because they can show up at any time. Sometimes they'll have red chests in them with really awesome loot. Sometimes they'll drop a vending machine and you can sell your items that you've already gathered and buy something better. There is an ammo and grenade machine and a health machine and shield machine at the boss. So in the very center of the map, those are always there. In terms of the gun machines, that's kind of like if you're lucky and you find one, right? So it's really, really cool what you can find in this mode. You can definitely level up and get Guardian ranks and get experience and things like that in it. If you use a science booster, I'm sure it'll work in there as well, although you may not like see it. I don't know. I haven't actually tried this, but I'm assuming it's going to still have an effect on how much experience you're getting while you're in there. But it is a kind of like an island unto itself within the game. So it's definitely a different zone. So you don't necessarily see your Mayhem mode. You don't get access to your mail. You don't get access to your Mayhem mode like menu. You can't change those things. If you go into your item inventory, you can't see like your skill tree at all. It's just not there because it's made to be that way so that you can focus on the guns and have this kind of like sort of simplified but really cool experience.
Right. Somebody's asking, will there be anointed militants? And the answer is no, but they appear in a different form. Revenants. Revenants are these. They look similar to anointed enemies, and they are rough like anointed enemies. And the only way they really appear is if you stay too close to the murder cane for way too long. And if you try to venture out in there, the revenants will come for you. And they are not easy. They are not. And if you want that challenge, go out into the murder cane. Make sure you don't get yourself killed. But eventually they will find you and they will kill you. We showcased them very briefly in our arms race video from last week's show, which if you haven't checked out, please go do so. It's on YouTube right now. It's wonderful. K6 and Jolts were on it, and they were amazing guests. I can't wait to have them back for whatever reasons we can possibly concoct to drag them back on the show.
I think they'd be down. It was definitely super, super fun to do. I also second checking out that video. It's available on Twitch or YouTube. And we're just super excited for all the things coming. We're running short on time, and our teammates are streaming this mode, and we want to let you guys watch it. So we're just going to cover some next-gen FAQ facts, because it's really important for you guys to know that. Some of you have been asking about Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 and the deal with that, the Ultimate Edition, the Next Level Edition, Season Pass 2. So let's just do like a quick kind of bullet points edition.
Sure.
So what is the Borderlands 3 Ultimate Edition? Borderlands 3 Ultimate Edition delivers the quintessential Borderlands 3 experience. So it includes the core game, 6 content add-ons in both Season Pass 1 and 2, and multiple bonus cosmetics packs, including the new Multiverse Final Form cosmetics, the Altverse, right? So it includes everything in the base game, Season Pass 1 and Season Pass 2. Okay, so basically everything up until the end of this next year, right? So not the year necessarily like 2020, but this year of content, because Borderlands originally launched in April or May or something. I can't do dates anymore, I apologize. But basically the first year of Borderlands and the second year of Borderlands and the base game and absolutely everything is included. It will be available starting November 10th on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xbox One, PC via Steam and Epic and Stadia. All the places.
Yes.
So you'll be able to get it. You'll be able to buy it. It's actually November 9th now, I believe. Right? November 10th for the new consoles.
I believe, I want to say, I don't know. I have to, the consoles will launch on November 10th. Everything is just launching a day early just to give people a little extra time to play, which I thought was kind of nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that's also important to underscore is if you purchase, like, let's say you have a PS4 now and you're going to wait to buy a PS5 until Christmas or next year or whatever, at any time. If you purchase Borderlands 3, whatever edition you have, if you purchase it for the PS4 or the Xbox One, the older platforms, right, and then you eventually upgrade, you will be able to get Borderlands 3 and whatever version of it that you bought for free on the new platform. However, you have to stay within the same platform family. So, for example, if you bought the digital edition of Borderlands 3, the Super Deluxe edition, but digital, you did not buy the disc, right? Mm-hmm. And you have it on PS4 and then you get yourself a PS5, you'll be able to download it again on your PS5. If you bought the disc version of the Borderlands 3, whichever edition, let's say you bought the collectible and you got the Super Deluxe on that disc, or you bought the base game and you got it on that disc. If you have a physical disc, you have to make sure that when you buy your PS5, you get the physical edition of the PS5 so it has a place for you to put that disc. Make sense, right? Because if you buy the digital edition of the PS5, there won't be a disc slot, right, to take your disc. So just keep that in mind. Xbox, I don't think has that issue because there's only one version that has there's multiple versions, but they all
if you have a Series S, I don't believe you can do it, but a Series X, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mitsu. So and then they also have the Next Level Edition. This celebrates the launch of the new next-gen platforms. It consists of the core game plus the all-new Multiverse Final Form cosmetics packs, which contain all new body models and matching heads for Mose, Amara, Flak, and Zane. So this does not include the season 2 pass. This is just the base game plus the new models.
Yes.
That's the next level edition. Okay, so if you didn't buy season pass 1 and you didn't buy super deluxe, you just actually, if you don't have Borderlands at all, you basically just get the next level edition, which is the base game plus those cosmetics, right?
Yes.
The season pass 2 includes the designer's cut and the director's cut, which they're saying in spring 2021. A
Yes.
gameplay-focused add-on that includes additional missions, endgame content, and behind-the-scenes extras. So they have teased what will be in it a little bit. That's interesting.
The heck is a behind-the-scenes extra for a video game? For a movie, I could see it. It's like, oh, take a look at these behind the scenes. This is cool footage of us working on this movie.
I
And the
want to
time
see
Ewan
footage of
McGregor
them
fell over as
working on
Obi-Wan.
this.
Yeah.
They could do developer interviews. They could do film of artists working on the art. They could do like the rigging of various cutscenes and things like that. There's so much stuff that they could show us. Oh my God, I'm so excited to see that actually. That'd be really
Narrated
cool.
by Typhon DeLeon.
That would be amazing.
I would
That would
enjoy
be
that very-
amazing. Yeah, or Maya, narrated by Maya. That'd be so cool. That's really, really exciting, actually. I want to see these extras. I want to learn more about how this game was made because we've been so fortunate to do interviews with the devs and like talk to the devs a lot for you guys and sometimes with you guys and sometimes solo to later show you guys. And it's been such a window into so many things. And I just want to learn more. And if there are extras that include that, that'll be really cool.
Sure. Absolutely. We've talked at length about the Designer's Cut DLC. You know what's in it at this point. The skill trees, arms race, all that fun stuff. Make sure that you're doing it. We've talked about arms race extensively. If you don't know what it is by now, I really don't know what to tell you. Just listen to the entire program again and then go check out last week's episode on YouTube. I promise you the full gameplay reveal that we had with Jolts and K6 is very much worth your time. What are the new skill trees in the Designer's Cut? Well, as they like to say, bull a bloody path of destruction through your opposition with Amara's Enlighten 4 skill tree featuring Cryo, one of my favorite elements in the new effects category, and the Phase Flare Orb of Death, which most people were a little worried about, but it really does hold up to the title of Orb of Death. It does a lot of damage, and that damage can stack and ramp up rapidly to a point where it can one-shot, I've heard, sponge pants. What, I forget the name right now because I never go and fight him because I am bad and can't. Sponge boss. Yes, and Sponge Boss, for those of you who don't know, has an actual bajillion D health. That is a real number.
He's kind of a
not,
nightmare. I didn't realize how much of a nightmare he was because the first time I went to fight him, I took in Triple G's GT Shorty Mose, and she ripped him a new one without a problem. But everybody else I've taken to try to fight him has just been like, oh my God, why is this boss literally the spongiest boss ever in the world? But because he's meant to be. But
he's boss.
Yeah, he's tough.
Yes.
But
so if that's not enough for you, render your enemies helpless with Flax Trapper Tree, immobilizing your prey with the Gravity Snare ability, which does not do damage, but does pop them up, slam them down, pop them up, slam them down. It's actually a lot of fun to watch. And you get a new pet, Loaderbot, which can be customized in a myriad of ways, including becoming a Warbot, a Warloader, I should say, a Bullloader, and everybody's favorite, an Exploder.
yeah, because that's always fun.
Can't wait. You can be the proudest mech mommy in the world with Moses' Bear Mother Tree, where Iron Bear gets shrunk down into a little cute iron cub, which still
so
runs
cute.
at enemies and nukes them.
Yes.
Based on whatever other ability you choose, it will duplicate that and use on both arms. So if you want to do double railguns, double nukes, whatever you choose, that is the way it will go. Eliminate targets with lethal precision using Zane's The Professional skill tree, sniping enemies far away using the Mantis shoulder cannon and its multiple charges, somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on how you actually spec him. And it is worth putting points into. The shoulder mounted cannon, if you are a fan of action skill and anointments, is real good for you. Real good. Will Designer's Cut launch with a level cap increase or additional skill tree points? Nope. They are keeping to their word, as they said over the summer. No more level ups for the time being. So whatever you have right now, it will be good going into our new DLC. It was a point of contention. A lot of people said, why am I farming if I know in 3 months it's going to be an issue? So finally, Gearbox was like, you know what? You right. No more level ups. for now, for the foreseeable future, we're going to keep it at 65. And honestly, it's a great number to keep it at. What are the multiverse final form cosmetics? We talked about them at length. Each one of them is a completely new design for each character. And what I really love about these, and we have to cover them on the show at some point, each one of them comes with its own lore too. So it is explained, for example, that the Tiger of Partali Amara skin or final form is her in a future where she is tired of being this big celebrity, tired of all the fame, of all the fortune of going around the galaxy. She puts on her mask and just wants the legend of the Tiger of Partali to permeate throughout the 6 galaxies, which I thought that was really cool that they decided to even give these final forms real lore behind them. This is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited for these different like versions of the characters. I think they'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. If you have Borderlands 3, will there be support for cross-gen saves? Absolutely. If you are detected, I believe you mentioned this earlier, Tess, it will elevate your save file from your PS4 or your Xbox One X all the way to your PS5 or your Xbox Series X. So you can still have your characters. There is an option. You will not have to give them up forever. Cross-generation play, we've talked about it. There will be cross-generational play when crossplay goes live, whenever that gets to be a chance to be a thing, as Tess was talking about beforehand. Is there any differences between PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions of Borderlands 3? They are identical, as it should be. Are there separate trophies or achievements for current gen as versus to next gen? Nope. Everything is the same.
So I just want to underscore, if you already play Borderlands 3 on the like older generation for Xbox and PlayStation, you're not going to have to redo everything you already did for trophies or save files or anything. Everything will be ported over.
Yes.
So that's a really important thing that a lot of people have been asking, which is really cool. I'm also going to post this FAQ in the Twitch chat right now, and it'll be linked in the podcast description when the podcast goes up, probably tomorrow morning.
Feel free to peruse it. There's a few things that we have covered that we didn't cover in that quick bullet point. I didn't want to harp on it too much because we are pressed for time, but read it over. It will answer quite literally every question you have, I promise. And maybe a few things that you might have not have thought about that your brain will be like, wow, that actually is a good question. I'm glad I got that answered.
Yeah.
So, Designer's Cut is in 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm so excited. I was expecting an extra day.
Yeah.
And in that extra day, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, which will feature enhanced versions of Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 3, as always, in general, in the best state I think we've ever seen it in. And it's only going to get better with time as people get to have their hands on the new skill trees. I can't wait to see all those new builds. I really can't. It's gonna be great.
So cool.
Tess, where can they find you?
Twitch.tv/Tessa, CHKA, or Tessichka. Also Tess Games on Twitter. Also right here on the official Borderlands channel in 6 hours, 5 hours and 45 minutes. I will be here streaming Arms Race and the new skill trees and all the things, and it'll be a lot of fun. So stop by later. It'll be a good time. Mitsu, how about you?
Twitter.com/Mitsu Show, MITSUSHOW, where I tweet about basically everything I possibly see, especially when it pertains to Borderlands. All this new information. People will be asking me questions. My DMs are open if people want to ask me questions about that or the team or whatever the case may be. I actually just took a question earlier yesterday about somebody who was asking about potential members of the team. So I'm still always listening, always watching, always observing. Please, by all means, do not hesitate to reach out with whatever you want to say. And if you have any feedback on the show or on me, or maybe you have some leads on some really nice scarves, please let me know, especially if you can find one of those Burberrys for like less than $400. This is expensive. So there's that. Yes. And of course, twitch.tv/Mitsu, MITSU. You want to watch me stream when I do. And I appreciate that immensely. All right.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're enjoying the show as much as we love doing it, please make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and like if you enjoy the show. It means the world. It really, really does. Get those notifications going on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Music, soon to be YouTube Music, and Stitcher. And join us live on Twitch next week at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on our new regular day, Thursdays. Hopefully no more schedule changes for a while.
Our new old regular day.
Yeah. Sometimes we may bounce around a little bit to Tuesdays, but usually we'll be Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And thank you. Oh, also, we will be rating one of our teammates after this, so stick around. Mitsu?
Yes, for those of you on Twitch. Yeah. For everybody else, and I guess everybody on Twitch as well, on behalf of Tess, myself, and the entire content creation team, thank you so much for joining us as you do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.